Deciding is difficult because it has such a profound impact on who we are and who we ultimately become. And I know that making the right choice seems like you can't sidestep it, you can't outsmart it or hide from it. You have to confront it. But I think there are a couple ways that we can kind of outsmart this situation to help us live a little bit more in line with who we want to become. Now, if you're new to this channel, our whole entire goal here is to help you live more effectively. And that means understanding who you want to become so that we can help you with the how in how to get there, how to make that happen. That's where our passion lies and really is in our wheelhouse of expertise. So if you're like the majority of us here and believe in the self-improvement endeavor, then go ahead and subscribe to this channel. We'd really appreciate it. All right, let's get into today's video where we talk about how to stop being indecisive and understand what is actually worth doing. Now, this second part is actually really worth mentioning up front. Once you know who you are, you understand your values and really who it is you want to become, then all the other decisions become a lot easier because it's either going toward that identity or going away from. We make tons of decisions every single day, huge ones and small ones. Everything from food, which is a couple hundred decisions in and of itself, which is mind-blowing, to do I want to change my jobs or move countries? Things of these bigger nature that we confront every single day. The first thing that I want to suggest to you is if you are to become more decisive, having less decisions to make is going to make your life easier. What I mean by that is if we want to increase the quality of the decisions we make, we have to decrease the quantity. And again, this comes back to understanding who it is we want to become so that we can make decisions based on that identity of who it is, not focused on things that are outside of our real desire. What is indecision? I think most of us understand this quite clearly. It is that paralysis that we experience from overwhelm of choice ahead or the different paths ahead. I want you to think back on the last decision that you avoided. I know we all do it because it's tough to confront the realities of life. When we have 6 options or 1,700, it's difficult to move forward. Now, I know that very well, and I'm sure you do too. So maybe we can reframe the situation to help us move forward a little bit more. And I wanna, again, consult positive psychologist Dr. Sean Aker, because understanding that our external situation can only predict our well-being with 10% accuracy, and our internal state, our mindset, our approach, determine that with a 90% accuracy. What does that do? Well, to me, when we understand that our external situation doesn't actually matter, our internal situation does, then the outcomes of our decisions lessen in importance. And I know that might sound a little weird because our decisions ultimately make up who we are, but when we understand that the decisions, one, can be undone or learned from or prevented entirely, or the bad parts of those decisions, then it really does diminish this pressure to make the right choice or the best decision. Okay, that is a fool's errand. There are so many different paths in life that are going to bring us towards where we want to go and ultimately who we want to become. So trying to find the perfect decision or right choice is actually an impossibility. But when we can change the view from that and go, oh, well, there are so many good decisions up in front of me, when we have 6 options and all 6 of them are wins, then it doesn't really matter which one you make. And this really brings us to the next aspect of becoming more decisive, and that's knowing who you are, right? Confronting each scenario with an understood, preconceived idea of this is the type of person that I want to be, this is the type of person I don't want to be. You confront that, the decision becomes very easy. Now, if you have a lot of habitual resonance going in the bad direction, you're gonna have to counteract that in a more deliberate way. But when you confront new situations, which are always gonna put our conscious mind online a little bit more, it's a lot easier to make the right choice or a good choice when we know who we are. So that's why doing the thought work and the deeper introspective work that we've tried to walk you through in some other videos is so important, because you don't have to constantly remake decisions. You know, I'm this type of person, I do this type of thing. Not, this is a new situation, let me redecide who I want to become. And we're not going to make the right choice at every single decision point because there are just so many decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis. I think it's in the upper thousands. I haven't even looked because what a decision is pretty ambiguous and everyone has their own definition. There are unconscious decisions that we make, there are conscious ones, there are big ones, there are small ones, but when we look at what's important to us and really have a prioritized understanding of what this is, and by that, just to clear it up really quick, is if I prioritize relationships over physical health, over mental health, over my career, just to make it really simple, then I want to be putting the majority of my resources towards decisions on the top, right? What do I really value in life? And that's going to be different for all of us. But when you have the understanding of what you value, then putting your resources towards that type of decision is going to be your best bet. So when you have this really clear hierarchy of importance to you and your values and your personality, who you want to become, then all these other things get washed away in a certain sense because you don't need to focus on them. Now, this is easier said than done, but identifying it, having the awareness of where am I putting my resources now and how can I actually shift that to increase the quality but decrease the quantity of them is going to be really impactful for you. And that leads me to the kind of more general understanding that, hey, we have a shit ton of decisions, so let's see if we can pare down the ones that we have. And this is a little action item that we like to call deciding up the decision delta. So if you think about every decision you make, having little other following decisions from that original decision, the more that we can decide up and kind of block that off so that there are no following decisions, the better off we're going to be. The physical example of deciding up the decision delta is refraining from buying cookies in the store. If you're someone who wants to be physically healthier, then you know cookies are probably not a good choice for you. But if they're in your home or out of your cupboard, it's going to be weighing on your decisions every day. Should I have them now? No, it's too early in the morning. Should I have them now after my lunch? Sure. And all of these times that you decide yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, are decisions that you have a finite amount of resources to make. So saying no in a context like the supermarket where they don't have to be within your realm over and over and over making decisions, it's going to help you not waste your decisions. Now in the digital realm, this might look like downloading certain ad blockers or block site type things where you're refraining from, should I watch that video or click this ad all the time? Because if we don't have these kind of defense mechanisms up, then we're bombarded by other incoming stimuli, where if we can stop those, then we're effectively deciding way up the decision delta that blocks a lot of other decisions from coming down. This is really similar to what Gary Keller and Tim Ferriss talk about, whereas the lead domino, right? What decision can I make now that will make a lot of other decisions much easier to make or render them unnecessary, right? That I don't even have to use further resources on deciding. And this first principle thinking really helps alleviate a lot of the excess decisions that we don't want to have to decide every single day. And again, if we can reduce the overall amount of decisions in general, then that will allow us to make higher quality decisions, because we're, instead of making 1,000 decisions with this amount of willpower, we can use this same willpower on only 10 decisions. And if you can focus this limited capacity to decide on what's really important to you, then you're going to be freeing yourself up to make better decisions all the time. We really experienced this thing called decision fatigue, as Dr. Baumeister originally coined the term. Another reason a lot of us have trouble deciding in the first place is because of the repercussions of that decision. Now, Tim Ferriss has a great TED Talk and exercise to combat this. The way he does it is by looking at, instead of goal setting, something he calls fear setting, which is based on ancient or Stoic philosophy, where he broke it down in a way where you define the problem, you have another column for how you can prevent the bad stuff from happening, and then a third column where it's all about repair. So if the bad, undesirable outcome occurs, how can I repair this? And you do all of this planning before you actually make the decision, which alleviates a lot of the pressure for making that perfect decision. Again, you can't have the perfect decision or the right choice. There are a lot of beneficial paths forward for you. So to understand that, one, this is probably not going to end in catastrophe, but two, if it does, I know how to fix it. It really allows you this freedom and confidence to move forward, because you know that you're not going to be bogged down by what could come from this, and you make the once ambiguous become really concrete. It's taking away a lot of the power of the potential bad by making it really understandable and already creating certain antibodies to this catastrophe. Again, knowing what is worthwhile to you makes all the difference in your decisions. Because if you have that clarity, then every single decision point, whether it's a new one or one you've confronted multiple times, you know the right way to go. Now, if you're worried because you don't know exactly who you want to become, that's okay, because deciding, the act of deciding, actually helps you create yourself, right? We don't need to understand exactly who we want to become if we trust in the process that a few core values are enough for us to move forward, right? We don't need perfection, we just need improvement. And in order to make traction and create yourself, you need the confidence to decide and make choices knowing that, hey, even if this doesn't work out the way I planned, I can pick up some slack here, or I can learn why that didn't work out and make better decisions in the future. But it's only once we have this courage to decide and move forward that we are going to be able to benefit in some way from this encounter with reality. I want to circle back and talk about prioritizing as a skill in and of itself really quick, because it's so important to not only understanding who you are and the hierarchy, right, the prioritized values that you have, but also when it comes to decisions and understanding that you don't need to make the right choice all the time. If you've put the thought work ahead of time and you have an understanding of your prioritized nature of what you should be doing, then it frees up so much of this background noise that would otherwise be there if you're trying to decide, what time should I do this, what time should I do this, what time should I do that. You can instead go, okay, I've already decided these are the 10 things I'm going to do in order. Now I'm going to do this one until I'm done, and then I'll move to the next one, and then I'll move to the next one, and then I'll move to the next one. The decision-making process is difficult because it's part logic and part emotion, right? What your gut is telling you to do and what your brain says, oh, that's actually the right choice. Now, I know that all of us are going to deal with this differently, and I'm not going to pretend like I have the perfect answer, but I do have a calculator in progress. So I, one, love all of your feedback and different usages of this so that we can hopefully use this in a lot better way altogether. But what it does is really look at our three main resources, being time, money, and willpower, and how we can create a common currency of this, or at least common valuation. And on second thought, I'm actually gonna make a separate video on this, so put the link right here.